So, hey, everybody. I'm Ben Grimico from InterNACHI. That's the International Association of Certified Home Inspectors. And once in a while, we do a free live inspection training class. And this one is called Inspect This House. And we're going to do a home inspection. We're going to review a home inspection that I did. We're going to take a look at the inspection report. We're going to look at all the defects that I find. And we're going to learn how the home works and what my client wanted to know about the home before they bought it, and what did I tell them. And we do live webinars on nachi.org/webinar. Go to our nachi.org page, and we're right there. So nachi.org page, we look like this. We're having a big event in Texas. So if you're in Dallas, Texas, near the end of the year in October, in the middle of October, October 16th, 17th, and 18th, we're having a big Texas Inspectors Convention, but it's open to everybody, whether you're from Texas or not. So come on over. And we just had a big convention in Orlando. So we had 1,000 people and 1,000 inspectors. So we'll see probably hundreds of inspectors in Texas. That'll be good. Good food. And on our nachi.org page, if you wanted to get started, there's a button that says get started, and you can get started with your certification, get started with your training and education, and all of the training and education, all the online courses is offered through our tuition-free college, accredited by the U.S. Department of Education. So InterNACHI School is a college, just like any college in the United States and Canada. So when you take one of the college courses, you're actually a college student. You enrolled in college. You can get your college ID, get discounts at a movie. And if you wanted to do a webinar with us, you click the Grow Your Business button. Hope you all can see that. Let's see if it opens up. There we go. Grow Your Business button. And then you go down to webinars and videos. And it's right there. And this is the webinar page. There's a filter on the right side if you want to do about websites or report writing and software or marketing or certification. We have a ton of videos that are recorded. So all of our webinars are recorded. And we just had 2 really good webinars. One was from Sandra Hyde, and she is she's a marketing director of ICC, International Code Council, product development. And she took the time to talk about significant changes to the 2024 International Residential Code for inspectors. And the International Residential Code is a fantastic resource for home inspectors. Home inspectors are not code inspectors, but we use the International Residential Code as a resource from which to build all of our training. So that is a fantastic webinar there. And you can watch the video recording if you happen to miss it. We also had Transforming Your Website into a Lead Generating Powerhouse webinar. And that was presented by InterNACHI's official vendor for inspector website designs. That's Inspector Website Builder. You can Google it, Inspector Website Builder. And we had Sarah Hornblum do a presentation. She did a great job. So Sarah does website designs, one of the many website designers at InterNACHI's official website designer, official vendor. And we're doing this class, Inspect This House. And officially it starts in about 10 minutes. So I'm not going to officially start. I like to respect everyone's time. I'm here early, as always. I'm here. And if you wanted to chat with me, I think if you're on Zoom, there's a little chat feature. There's also a Q&A button. You can ask questions. And if you're live on YouTube, you can try to chat. And looks like we have Julius and Corey chatting with us. So let me see if I can reply on YouTube live. And where I'm from, this is how we talk. We say, yo, y'all. Oh, I see me on YouTube. Check out this. I was in an attic a while back, and let's see, there it is. Do you know what this is? See this down here? I didn't take a closer up picture. I should have. Have you ever seen anything like that? This was in an old home, which we're going to inspect today during the webinar. And it was in an attic, unfinished attic. And I was like, what is that? I actually had to look it up using Google image searches. Devin says he knows what it is. You know what it is? Anybody? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'll show you what it is. It's called a glass radio strain insulator. And radio strain insulators were used to insulate either end of a wire antenna from the tower or other mounting hardware. The smaller styles were frequently used by ham radio hobbyists for backyard antenna installations. That's really cool. So I had to look that up. That's what that is. So we had a ham operator, I guess. Where is that picture? These are my, you can ask, there it is. So this was in a house built late 1800s. And oh, it's an electrical insulator. Yeah, right. But the small one, Devin, was for ham operators, and it made a lot of sense, right? I actually see the antenna wire here. This is a support and an antenna wire for the ham operator. That'd be kind of cool, to see that happening. And then another question was, did you ever see, since I was in an attic of an old historic home, do you know what these wires are? Oh, thanks, Corey. On YouTube, Corey gave us a compliment. Keep up the good work. No, you keep up the good work, right? You're doing the hard work out there, you home inspectors. You're doing an amazing work out there. We're just here to support. Yeah, Devin says knob and tube, right? So that's knob and tube wiring. This is the wire, insulated wire, and it's live. And this is the knob to support it. And then sometimes these wires will go down like this into a floor joist. And if it goes through the floor joist, it'll be going through a tube. So the ceramic is holds it in place without conducting electricity. This is in an ungrounded, non-ground. There's no grounding wires for this type of wiring system. And in the United States, it was used from late 1800s to about 1940. And it's just a bad idea now. So if you see it, probably just recommend it to be replaced. I mean, there's an argument to be said that if it's working, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But nowadays, it's just a bad idea to have. One of them is you can't bury it in insulation because they overheat. They also overheat due to modern appliances. Computers generate a lot of energy, use a lot of energy, and those wires can overheat. And old wires get brittle. Everything gets brittle when it's old, and it's not grounded. Those are some of the problems with it. Now, if everything's great, great. But if one of those things, one of those factors is wrong, it becomes an electrical hazard and a fire hazard. And it's so bad that sometimes you'll have an old home that can't get homeowners insurance because they have knob and tube wiring. It is really rare to come across these, but this was done. I did this inspection a while ago, and in my area, we had older homes. So here's a knob here, and here's a tube going through. So I'll show you more of those. And this is the other problem with knob and tube wiring. When you have a modern wire connected to antiquated, hazardous wires, right? These connections are not very good. This is a fire hazard electrical problem. You really just can't do this. And then you can see this wire here. So this is a 3 wire. This is a grounding wire. It really should be connected. um, at the end of this wire, someone's going to rely on maybe the grounding being connected, right? So there's all kinds of reasons why this is just a no-go anymore. Just can't have it anymore. Here's a tube. So we saw the knob. Here's the wire here, and it goes into a tube, and this is going up through the floor into a wall, probably wall cavity. And it kind of looks like that. So if you're a home inspector and you come across that, I would recommend, just replacing it as tagging it as a material defect, because there's a lot of problems associated with it. So if you take one of the electrical courses at InterNACHI School, accredited college at internachi.edu, never go to an unaccredited school. Always look for that edu. You'll learn about all these things, from the very old wiring to the most modern stuff based upon code. So there's the tube and the knobs. All right. Looks like we've got 3 minutes. Yeah, Devin. Right, Devin. So Devin says, homeowners have improperly added onto them. Exactly. Just like this. Perfect example. You're right. Spot on, Devin. All right. We had about 160 people register for the webinar, but a lot of you are doing home inspections, which is fantastic. You don't have to attend a live webinar. You're going to get a video recording. So everyone who registers for a webinar gets an email about the video recording, so you never miss out. So we're going to start in about 3 minutes. I'm not going to start too early. I'm just here to chat. If you have any questions, feel free. Get your coffee. And we're going to inspect this house. And if you want to register for any webinar coming up, man, we have a lot of really good webinars coming up. We're doing this webinar here, Deciphering the Mystical Language of Builders. That's by Philip Dancer. He's fantastic. He does a lot of pre-drywall inspections, a lot of phase inspections, rough-in inspections for homes being built or under renovation or new homes. And he's also teaching a class at the House of Horrors in Pennsylvania. We also have vendors who come on by and tell us about their products and services. And this is Inspector Graham. And then I do tips for inspectors. I'm doing business and marketing tips for new inspectors. Some of them are just for Florida inspectors. I do those special ones, but usually they're for just about anybody, whether you're new or veteran. We'll go over the business and marketing tips for new inspectors. So join us for a free live interactive webinar. Bring your questions. And if you can't make it, register, because all the webinars are video recorded, just like this one. Uh, Someone asked, Martinez asked about the conference. Yep. So we had the conference. So looks like you're asking questions about how you get a refund, and it was suspended for the hurricane, but actually it was rescheduled. It wasn't canceled, and we had it. So just reach out to education@internachi.org, education@internachi.org, or fastreply@nachi.org. Just reach out. We're on the contact page, and get some help and get some answers to your questions. The 2024 conference was delayed by a hurricane in Orlando, but we just rescheduled it, and we just had it a month ago. It was fantastic. About 1,000 people arrived, and it was a really great time. And if you're asking about tickets and events and whether it's on or off or things like that, You have to, I think you're missing out on news. So you have to subscribe to the InterNACHI newsletter in order to get all that, because your questions were answered um, over and over and over again, talking about rescheduling, and people had to get refunds and they couldn't make it and they wanted to delay or come back. And so all that was handled through the newsletter. So you have to subscribe to the newsletter in order to stay in touch with what's going on. And that's at InterNACHInewsletters.com. InterNACHInewsletters.com. And then again, just reach out to the education team, education@internachi.org, and we can help you with all that good stuff. Okay, so let's begin the webinar. Hi, everybody. My name is Ben Gromyko. I'm from InterNACHI. That's the International Association of Certified Home Inspectors, and this is a live webinar. It's free, it's online, and open to everyone. And nachi.org/webinars is where we do our webinars. And in this one, we're going to inspect this house. And if you wanted to see other inspections of other homes, go to nachi.org, and then this huge URL /inspect this house. And if you go there, you'll see a bunch of inspection videos that we're producing. You don't want to buy or rent a house that has problems, right? So home inspectors teach people how their homes or apartments or condominiums work. And they also explain what needs fixing. For example, what needs fixing here? Do you see a problem? Now, if you are attending the webinar, live webinar, feel free to ask questions. If you're on YouTube, I think we're live on YouTube. You can text us there. If you're on our webinar system on Zoom, you have a Q&A button and you have a webinar chat feature as well. You can chat. So right now we have a problem. There's water puddling up right next to this house foundation. It's a masonry stone foundation. This is an old house built in late 1880s. And this is a stone pier at the front porch, a column. And there's just way too much water puddling up. It's raining right now during the home inspection, which is fantastic. I love to do home inspections during the rain, but we need to extend this far away. You want to get water as far away from the foundation as possible, even if it's the front porch foundation, whether it's made out of wood or masonry. Do you see a problem here? What needs fixing here? Well, you should never see a wave pattern on a building like this that's covered with stucco. So there's something going on with the stucco, the cement coating. This house, is it masonry or is it wood frame? If it's wood frame, there's something wrong here, right? If it's masonry, then what is this coating doing? So there's a lot of questions here. And if you're going to buy this house, you want to ensure that your biggest investment is safe, functioning, and healthy. And you do that by getting it inspected. Do you see a problem here? Hey, Ron, how are you? Ron's chatting. This is a breaker box, breaker panel, dead front removed. And I'm looking for the size of the wire in relation to the size of the breaker. And the breaker size can't be too big, can't be oversized. When connected to a small gauge wire, this will overheat and cause problems. And most homeowners don't know what to look for, right? You don't want any electrical problems. So you want to get inspected. Do you see a problem here? Well, this is masonry brick in the back, right? It looks like some debris in the back. So maybe this is a chimney, right? A clean out pipe. We got the pipe here. And this is the connector pipe. So I opened it up. This is a connection pipe, a connector pipe that goes from a fuel burning appliance, and it's connected into the base of a chimney where the exhaust gases from that fuel burning heating system goes up the chimney. So it comes in this pipe here, goes along, and then it goes up. Well, half of this is being blocked. If it gets really blocked, it won't draft properly. And now you'll have carbon monoxide spilling into that room or floor or house in which the heating system is located and is operating and is blocked. So it's a deadly health hazard. If you own a home, you can save money by challenging contractors' unnecessary repairs by first calling your unbiased home inspector. So your contractor who would come in and fix these things, maybe they're in the business of, tearing down and building up new chimneys, right? Or maybe this just needs to be fixed here. Or maybe, oh, they won't even look in here. They'll just replace the heating system. Maybe something's wrong with the heating system. You never really know, right? So a contractor, don't want to beat up contractors, but contractors, if a contractor pulls up with windows in the back of the truck, they're in business to sell windows. Home inspectors are not in business to sell windows. Home inspectors do not sell anything other than information that homeowners need to make smart decisions. And they do it in an unbiased way. Home inspectors have a code of ethics. I always ask contractors, can I see your code of ethics? And they never have one. But home inspectors have a code of ethics in order to protect the public from unnecessary recommendations to fix stuff. All home inspectors do is educate homeowners about the condition of the home so that homeowners, renters, can make smart decisions. Do you see a problem here? Yeah, we just went over it before the webinar started officially. This is knob and tube wiring. Here's a knob, and we'll see a tube later. So this is old, antiquated, ungrounded wiring. That's really an electrical hazard. Do you see a problem here? Not on the surface. Maybe some foil on the, what is it? This looks like a kitchen back, and there's some foil on the hood, but that's not the problem. We'll go over what the problem is in the webinar coming up. Every home should be inspected by a certified home inspector. Why? Because not every home is safe, healthy, and functioning. Most homes don't have major problems, but some do. And when you know what's going on in your own home, you can stop guessing and start knowing. So get educated about your home. Get empowered to make decisions that are informed by an unbiased professional. So you want to get your home inspected. Find your local home inspector and get your home inspected today. If you're a home inspector, or if you're someone interested in becoming a home inspector, we have a 1-month free trial membership or 50% discount off of your first year membership, but you can't be a current member and you can never have been a member. And I'm going to give that little discount at the very end there. And if you're looking to get information, maybe even more information about knob and tube wiring or electrical stuff, or grading around the house to prevent water from puddling up, there's only one accredited home inspector college, and that's at InterNACHI.edu. InterNACHI.edu. All right, let's inspect this house, shall we? Kelly says GFCI. Is that dirt scorching on the left? Oh, maybe. And maybe there was. I'll take a look. Okay, we'll take a look along the way. All right, shall we go? We good? YouTube, thumbs up. Q&A, thumbs up. Webinar. Joseph says, I clicked the email. All I can see is your forehead. I can't see anyone what you're talking about. I don't know. Okay, thumbs up. Everything's good? All right, let's go. Okay, hold on to your hat. Ready? We're going to inspect this house, find problems, and then go over the inspection report. And we're going to do that in about an hour and a half or so. Okay? Remember, if you got to go, it's okay. It's video recorded. We're going to inspect this house. We're going to learn how it works. We're going to find problems. We're going to follow a standards of practice. We're going to use inspection software. We're going to read the report. We're going to learn how to get certified. We're going to talk about business and marketing if you want to. You can ask questions, and there's a discount on membership at the very end. I'm teasing you. I'm trying to get you to stay for the whole thing. When I do a home inspection, I get up early, 7 a.m. My first job is at 8. I want to show you my schedule, my daily schedule. This is what I follow. And it's all about managing your time because no one wants to do an 8-hour home inspection. None of my clients wanted to stay there longer. So to do an efficient home inspection, you have to manage your time. And I like to get to the property early so I can do the roof or the exterior or something, start digging into the hard work before my client comes. So I arrive early and I inspect the roof. And that's what you're going to see in the next slides. And then at about 8 a.m. for my first job, my second job is at noon. 8 a.m., I meet my client and we inspect the exterior. And then we go inside. Usually my client is with me, sometimes not. But inside, I get to the heavy systems. I call them heavy systems. Like there's a lot going on. It's going to take me almost 2 hours to do the following systems. And it starts with the heating and cooling. And then plumbing supply, plumbing coming in, and then the drains going out, and then heating up that water. And then there's electrical, and then the structure. Even if it's concrete slab on ground, slab on grade, no basement, no crawl space. I call that the structure, the foundation. If there's a crawl space, I suit up and I'm going in the crawl space. That's going to take me a while, about 2 hours after my official start time. So if it's at noon, 2 hours later, I'm in the attic. If it starts at 8, 2 hours later, 10 a.m., I'm in the attic or whatever is just below the roof. I inspected the roof first on the outside, the top part, the covering. Now I'm inspecting underneath where maybe there's a space and some insulation. And then I move through the interior. I'm basically finishing up in about an hour. That's all it takes. The rest of the house, the big stuff, the important things, I spend more time on. And those are the big systems. If you wanted to learn how to inspect any system or component of any system, the InterNACHI School is an online accredited college, and it's tuition free for InterNACHI members. There's no tuition at the InterNACHI School. Learn about any component of any system of any kind of house. And it's learn at your pace, an open book. Okay, so I'm moving through the interior. I'm doing the bathrooms. I'm doing the laundry room somewhere. There's a laundry room. Maybe it's down in the basement. Maybe it's upstairs. And I'm also inspecting the garage. Carport is the exterior. Attached garage would be, on the first floor near the kitchen, something like that. And then I finish up in the kitchen, right? So I'm doing all these systems, and I do this every time on every house, no matter how big it is or how small it is. So I don't miss anything. I get into a pattern of doing inspections. Once you get into a pattern or a process of doing inspections over and over again, defects are like stumbling blocks. They just jump out at you. It's a very strange feeling, right? So if you're a home inspector, find a way to develop a process. Later on, when you want to expand your business and go into a multi-inspection firm, you want that process you want it written out, really. And also you want to train inspectors so that they can do what you have done. Over time, anybody can be a fantastic inspector. Just need the right training. So go to InterNACHI. At 11 o'clock, I want to wrap things up, take my time, summarize my findings, talk to my clients, tell them I'm going to take care of them for the rest of their lives while they're in my neighborhood, our neighborhood. I'm going to tell them about my summer party that I have for all of my clients. I'm going to tell them about my blog, my newsletter, tell them the most important thing is whenever anything happens in the house, roof leak, plumbing leak, electrical something, call me so that I can educate you so that you can make smart decisions. Don't call up a contractor real fast. Let me come over and I'll take a look at it. Usually those are for free. You can charge for that service as well. At the end of the inspection, I make sure that I get a good Google review or a video testimonial, or you could do a survey, or at least send it out. But just make sure your client is 100% satisfied. And if they're not, this is the time to address all that. Make sure the agents are really happy. There's family members, everyone's happy, right? With your inspection. They feel empowered with the information that they need to make the next move about the home that they love. And then I get paid. And I like to get paid just like a real estate agent gets paid, but it's 0.1%. Agents get paid 3%. Dual, it would be 6%. That's a lot of money, but we're not asking for 3%. I wouldn't ask for 3%. It's 0.1%. So what you do is that's the price of the home divided by 1,000. 1/10 of 1%. Oh, and additional inspections. So I get paid for additional inspections as well. So one of the best ways to make more revenue as a home inspector is to offer more services that my client wants. Just overwhelm them with incredible, valuable information. And at InterNACHI, we just don't train home inspectors. We train mold inspectors, radon inspectors, termite inspectors, infrared inspectors, roof inspectors, electrical, septic, every kind of inspection you can get trained and certified on. And then you offer those services to every client, like a one-stop shop. Okay, let's inspect this house. Yep. The starting point for every great home inspection is a standards of practice. And ours at InterNACHI is open to the public. You can take a look to see what home inspectors are required to inspect and what they're not required to inspect. There's a lot that I'm not inspecting. I can't see everything. Can't see through walls. Can't see things that are covered up. Can't see things that are behind something like a plaster wall or a ceiling that a contractor may come and, they'll open up the wall and then they'll see things more than I could, right? Obviously. So it's really like a visual only inspection. I'm only seeing things that are readily available and visible. It's like taking both hands, putting them behind my back and tying them. I'm able to do a home inspection with my hands tied behind my back. That's the definition of a home inspection. Now I wouldn't. I wouldn't do that, right? I need to move things around, and I need to use a flashlight and a screwdriver and an infrared camera and a moisture meter and all these things, right? I need to open and close doors and windows. But essentially, it's a visual only inspection. And there are some restrictions and there's some limitations, especially when the house is occupied. I can't see, behind the furniture and things like that, but I'm going to do my best, right? Because it's not an exhaustive search of every defect. Just tell my clients the truth. Like when you move in, you're probably going to find something wrong, right? Because the conditions were different. On the day of the inspection, house was filled with a bunch of junk, right? And now it's all cleaned out. Now we can see more. Yeah. And I don't mind that. They don't mind that. I don't mind coming back and taking a second look. There's a great thing that we did at Peach Inspection. We started my home inspection company. We scheduled an inspection, scheduled a home inspection, but we also scheduled an inspection just before you sign on the line with the bank, right? Every buyer gets that last minute peek. Okay, let's take a look just before. We want to make sure, just before you sign it, just before you actually buy it, let's take a look. It's called a pre-closing walkthrough. So we just walk through. There's no report. There's no pictures. So we just walking through the home. And that's an opportunity because usually the house is empty and ready for the new occupant. Everything's empty and this is it. Maybe the refrigerator has been removed. Now we can see behind the refrigerator, for example. Okay, so we scheduled 2 inspections. Ideally, you want to schedule 3. 3 inspections, home inspection, pre-closing, walkthrough, and 11-month inspection or a warranty or just before 1 year ends. You want to start inspecting on a yearly basis and get them going. So if you're in business, if you're scheduling inspections, never schedule just 1, always schedule 3. And then on top of that, ancillary inspections, home inspection, termite, radon. That's a good bundle packages, right? I like to start with the roof. In the standards of practice, I believe roof is first. Let's go there. Let's see what the standards of practice looks like. Here's what the standards of practice looks like. So the home inspection standards of practice, and there's the roof is first. Roof, exterior, foundation, basement, crawl space, heating, cooling, plumbing, electrical, fireplace. And it's basically, this is what it lists all the things that a home inspector is supposed to inspect, right? So under roof, for example, it says, the inspector shall inspect from the ground level or the eaves. Oh, not from the roof itself? Nope. A home inspector is not required to walk on any roof unless your local jurisdiction that's regulating home inspectors requires you to, right? So Texas is one of them, right? Standards of practice says get on the roof unless it's not safe or available. So there's always some exception to a requirement when the conditions are not safe. So if the conditions are not safe for you to walk on a roof, don't. A small fall from a roof, a short fall from a roof could be fatal. It could really hurt. I'm going to inspect the roof covering, the gutters, the downspouts, the vents, flashing skylights, chimney, and other roof penetrations and the general structure from the roof. And I'm going to describe the type of roof covering materials. Roof covering materials. That's the stuff that I can see. I can't see underlayment. I can't see fastening. I can't see a lot of the flashing. And I'm going to report as a need of correction anything that's actively leaking, right? So roof leaks are really important. So let's go back. I'm on the roof. I carry big, tall ladders. You can do this from a drone. You can do this from an extension pole, non-conductive. You can get up there in some way from other vantage points. You have to inspect the roof. If you don't inspect the roof at all, you got to tell your client, hey, I can't even see the roof. That happens. So it's good to get a drone. You can become an FAA drone pilot by taking the training to help you pass the exam through InterNACHI. So this is the roof. It's an asphalt shingle roof, 3-tab roof. It's fine. It looks good. I don't like the flashing. So that's my opinion. And I base it upon code. So code has requirements and provisions and manufacturer recommendations. And what I know is that there's flashing in between things. So in between the roof covering material and the side of this chimney, there's pieces of metal and it's called flashing. It could be a continuous sheet of metal or it can be step flashing like this, pieces of metal. And then the top edge is where it goes wrong sometimes. This top edge can open up and allow water to get in there. Even if it's sealed really well like this, there could be places where this is not working. This should not be installed in this way. When you see a lot of black tar slapped on, brushed on, coated on, flashing, there's something wrong. Let me say that again. When you see a lot of black sealant, roof tar being slopped on metal flashing, there could be something wrong. Now, don't get this confused with a flat roll roof that we hot mop down, right? That's a lot of black tar. But again, it wouldn't be on flashing though. So right here at the intersection between the roof covering and the chimney, There's metal flashing. There's missing flashing here. There's counter flashing that's missing. And there's a lot of tar here. This was done before I got there because they were having a home inspection. So they gooped a lot of stuff in order to hide something that's wrong. This is improperly installed. I wonder if it's leaking. And I'll tell you a little trick. In about an hour, you'll see when we get to the attic, it's leaking. Looks good. Man, this looks good. But it is actively leaking. It's like water is pouring through somewhere. I have no idea where. I don't know how, but it is coming through. Looks good. A lot of black stuff. Looks sealed. Yeah. Nope. Oh, even if it looks good to my eyes, oh, sealing is okay. It's not the way it was supposed to be installed, but whatever. Just keep an eye on it, monitor it. Nope. I'm going to show you how wet it was. Buckets of water. And it was, oh, we'll see. So this looks good, but it's not performing well. There's an active roof leak. Right now, during the inspection, I don't know that it's actively leaking. All I know is we got a problem here. I wonder if it's going to leak in the future. I wonder if it's actively leaking now. It should look like this. When you take InterNACHI's courses on training things, we show you how things should be properly installed. When it comes to roofs, roof coverings, exterior, grading, it's all about diverting water away from what you're trying to protect. Trying to protect our home. So it's layers. Things should be layered well and shingled well, right? And so if you think about layering, like it's almost like you got to go opposite. Start down here. Here's where the water is flowing. Here's that metal step flashing. Now it's tucked underneath something that's covering it. And this is being covered by something. So this is the building wrap. Let's say it's also siding. You have siding on top of this. So siding, building wrap, flashing, step flashing, underlayment, right? So water can just divert right around. And when it's up against a brick chimney stack or a concrete or a masonry chimney stack, we want that top flashing to be cut into the masonry. So this flashing piece here should be cut into it. And then you can put a little sealant there. It's not unnecessary, but you can put a little sealant if you want to. And then this is, see how it's shingled? To divert water away, down and away, down and away. And if anything comes up, it has to be covered. So going back here, this is not there. Anything comes up, flashing comes up, it's got to be covered. Not covered with toothpaste. This is essentially toothpaste. This is a Band-Aid. It's not going to last. Metal flashing doesn't need toothpaste to make it watertight. Needs something permanent, right? Okay. This is a properly installed flashing along a chimney, brick chimney. The masonry, a groove is cut right here, and we tuck this piece of metal in there. Underneath this covering is the step flashing. This is continuous flashing here on this instance. But if you had step flashing with every row of shingles, all the top of the shingles, step flashing would be covered with metal. And then we put a little sealant there just to, it's not really necessary, but we'll put it in there. So this chimney stack has a flashing problem. On the other side, there's another chimney stack. It also has a flashing problem. It's raining cats and dogs right now. I can't get on the roof. I'll slide off. So I'm trying to inspect from afar, and I can see the shingles are okay, but I'm not liking these chimney flashings. Oh, here's all this water, and it hits the parapet wall, the wall in between the units here, like this, right? It's hitting this, and it's puddling up here. And we're just hoping it's going to drain away on this, and then go down here, and then drain into a scupper thing. This is all messed up here. Oh, it's so difficult. This is not flashed properly. This is just gooped. A lot of, there's a lot of maintenance involved on this roof. Just want to divert things away. right? This is even open a little bit. And that's the, you can see the rain coming at an angle. That's the whole point of getting a home inspection. We want to make sure that things are in good shape and not leaking and are going to last. So I'm moving down from my ladder and I'm getting to a small metal roof off the side. I think it's above the kitchen window area. Terrible pictures. My camera's sliding off my hand because it's wet. But here's what old silicone looks like. So if you see wet white sealant, oh, we sealed that up. We did that really good. Here's the flashing, right? Here's the edge of the flashing. Top edge of the flashing doesn't need toothpaste. This is old, crusty toothpaste. That's what silicone is after a while. It's not permanent. It's only temporary. Here's a piece of old metal, and here's a piece of old metal. This should be covering this one, right? Trying to divert. That's what home inspectors do. We come up and we try to take a look to see if everything is in good shape, and this is not in good shape. Here's a piece of counter flashing, cover flashing over this flashing. That's good, but this is no good. It wasn't grooved into the mortar joint. If it was, it's been gooped up with something. This needs to be all cleaned out, right? It should look like this. Here's the siding. Here's some kind of flashing or wrapping paper or something. And then there's flashing that kicks out on top of the surface of the roof. I have this in mind during every inspection, whether it's raining or dry. Just trying to make sure that all the rainwater, even if you're in what, Arizona, to think about rain, because it's going to rain. And when it rains, you have to think about how does the building exterior envelope, exterior covering with the roof and the sides, how is it kicking off? I mean, there's an edge here, should be extended away. There's an edge here. There's an edge here. There's an edge here above the windows. There's an edge here above the railing of the deck. There's an edge here below the windows. There's an edge here at the ledger board of the deck, edge here above the doors, below the doors, at the bottom of the house. You know, everything is diverting water away from the house. So when you're inspecting, even when you're a homeowner, when it's raining without any lightning, go outside. Don't hold an umbrella just in case there is lightning. Go outside and look around to see how your water management system is working. Your house, every house should have some kind of water management system. And your home inspector can help you figure that out. How do you manage water around the house, especially when you have a flat roof like this? Here's a flat roof. Here's a scupper, a drainage system. We want this standing water to go there. I don't think it's going to get there, right? This is a quarter inch, half inch of water just puddling up. It's not good. If it's still there after a day or two, it's not good at all. We want that water to, want that surface, roof surface, to be smooth and slightly sloped. There's no such thing as a flat roof. No such thing as a flat roof. If a roofer ever says flat roof, it's run away. There's no such thing as a flat roof. Every roof is sloped. This is a low sloped roof and has to be sloped. It's sloped for a reason so that puddles don't form. Don't want puddles forming. This is poor water management. Now, after the rainstorm, if this is on a Monday, on Wednesday, I better not see any puddles. Here's the drainage. This is always an issue here as well, right? Never like these things. The drain pipe should be big enough for debris to just fall through. If debris clogs up this, I gotta go on the roof and clean it. Here's more goop on flashing. If it's properly flashed, it doesn't need goop. Now, I'm not sure. Black roof tar. You can get it at Home Depot and Lowe's. You can keep slapping it on there if you want to. It's a bad way to live to be a home owner when you need to do this before winter and after winter. And always worrying during a rainstorm. Just, it should be done right. Okay. The next system, that's the roof. The next system is exterior. But I see some text here. Let's see. On YouTube, got anything? No, good. No questions. Questions are open. No one's asking questions. On a chat, how do I find this on YouTube? I don't know. say InterNACHI, INTERNACHI, InterNACHI. My name, Ben Grimico. When do you, or you can just go to nachi.org/webinars. I showed how to find our webinars on our website earlier. When do you inspect the crawl space? When I was going to do the foundation. So I do the foundation. That's after heating, plumbing, electrical, and then foundation. Do you charge for each inspection? Right. So I want to make sure that my home inspection is based upon the value I provide, right? I mean, real estate agents get 3% based upon the price, but their work is basically the same for every transaction. There's what? Let's say there's 30 pieces of paper that need to be stapled. They have to do it right. It's very important, but the work doesn't increase when the size of the home goes from 2,500 square feet to 5,000 square feet. In our home inspector world, that doubles, that almost triples our work. When the size of the home goes up, we got to charge more, right? In the InterNACHI free online home inspection business and marketing course, I think it's chapter 13, chapter 10. Just go in and do one chapter. You don't have to do the whole course. It's all about how do I price profitable inspection fees? And we walk through the process with Inspector John and Inspector Mary, who are trying to figure out how to charge for their fees. I'd say go there to figure out how to charge for your fees. Bundling is a great way to make, it's one of the 9 ways to make more money. So get your services, and clients can choose a la carte, one by one, or you can offer bundles, right? Or you can get paid by percentages as well. It's all up to you, right? Devin, it's like flashing tape, just waiting to fail. Yep. It does look like flashing tape. Lonnie says commercial roof condos, but still some slope. Yeah, there's got to be some slope for drainage. Okay. Oh, do you mean charge for the pre, post, and warranty? Yeah. So um I wouldn't I'd be careful in charging for inspections that are, far in advance. Right? People forget, people change their minds, and you've been holding their money for a while, right? So for me, I like to charge for my home inspection, and let's say radon and termite, I like to charge after I have performed those inspections in the kitchen with my client who's 100% satisfied. So, but all of this has gone through, we talk about this in our marketing course. This one is all about home inspections. Should we keep going? Looks good. Okay. I'm moving down from my tall ladder. I carry tall ladders to get to the roof edge. And I see this. This is a older home, right? The home is made out of concrete masonry units, CMUs, concrete block. The faces are porous. The mortar joints are extended. The windows are, blocked out with brick, just masonry, masonry, masonry all over, right? Beautiful masonry. However, I'm looking, and the masonry joints that I thought were original, nope, they're not. They were patched, and some of those patches are popping off. Like popping off in my hand. Whenever you have a house built out of masonry, and you can easily walk up to it and take pieces off of it, you have an issue. I'm a home inspector. I'm not an architect. I'm not a structural engineer, but I can recommend them. And I'm going to recommend someone qualified to further evaluate why chunks of masonry are falling off. Not because I'm picking on it, but just because they're just falling off. In this previous picture, this is masonry, pieces of masonry that have fallen off all by themselves from this house. This is a flat roof and it has caught the masonry that is slowly popping off all by itself. And it makes holes like this. Holes for wind, water vapor, moisture, rain. This is a hole now. Bunch of little holes and gaps. I know this wasn't original, right? This flashing here is called capping. It's not really flashing. It's like capping. It's like something that covers up, right? Now, what's the problem with adding something that covers up something, right? Who knows what's behind it? Can't really see. So I pull this a little bit because it really wasn't attached securely to the masonry. And I see, there's my window. It's actually made out of metal. And there's been sealant and paint. No flashing. Wow. This is a way for what to come through. So there's my, did I say window? So there's flashing. Did I say flashing? There's metal flashing, rusted, right? And then there's, in here is that wood frame of the window. Wood frame of the window with flashing. At least we've got some flashing here. But the capping, to make it look good, is not watertight. So what we have is just basically water running down the masonry exterior and getting behind the capping. Well, it looks good from the outside, but it's not watertight, right? Remember that house thing? When water drains, it's got to have this little piece here that kicks that water out, diverts that water out. So that drip is in the air, right? So it drips away. Everything's dripping away. This is opposite of that. This actually catches the water that's draining off the exterior of the house and holds it behind, and no one knows it because it's capped. I do videos as well.
And the porch roof is a flat roof.
So if you want to do videos,
the aluminum capping is very loose around the windows.
Describe
the sealant is in poor shape.
Right? Videos, if a picture's worth 1,000 words, videos are really helpful as well. So it's to the left and right of me. The sealant doesn't do anything, right? Again, more sealant. You can just see like the flashing here is very loosely installed. And I've got big chunks of masonry coming off. Big chunks of masonry coming off. I'm going to inspect a representative number of these areas. I'm not here to do an exhaustive search of every flashing problem. That's not what a home inspection is. I don't even like this here. So cracks, vertical cracks. So wait, I see the house is made out of concrete block, but why are some of the places like this? Like this is concrete block and so is the neighbor, but they coated over it, right? So now they have coating. They have coating over a masonry, stucco, cement-based coating on top of the concrete blocks. Why did they do that? Don't know. I would just, I kind of like this look. Keep the same look, right? Why coat, right? Somebody was sold on coating. So they coated this, right? But it doesn't go to the front. It doesn't wrap around. It kind of just ends there. And there's this thickness part. You could see it's thick there, right? And it's thick here. Like, why did they stop here? So they stopped here, right? This is the edge. That's how thick this coating was applied on. I'm not sure when it was applied on. And they coated it on top of the concrete block. And they had to stop because of the electrical wire. They couldn't figure out how to remove the electrical line and coat the rest of the house. So they just stopped when the electrical line got in their way. And so the bottom also is here. I'm sure there's a piece of wood here or something, but it just feels like it's loose. It's not attached well. So when I inspect any kind of masonry, I'm looking at it closely. And I'm locking on it as well. I'm pushing on it. I'm trying to pull on it. Any flashing loose? We don't want loose flashing. And I'm actually trying to feel if it's a solid hit. Like if I touch something that's solid, it sounds different than if it's hollow, right? So, go outside right now, not right now, but today, and like knock, push, touch the siding of your house. What's it made out of? If it's wood, great. How does that sound in comparison to maybe some masonry part of it, right? Or take a look at the flashing around the windows. See how they're sealed. If it's masonry, is there any point where there's like something going through the masonry that causes it to crack? So this is a downspout. There's a downspout. I'll call it a nail, a fastener, a hook, and it's going into the masonry and into the masonry itself of the house to hold the downspout in place, but it has caused a crack. So this crack is open to water penetration. You can see the waviness pattern of this stucco on this house. The waviness pattern is not a good thing. It's like it's losing its adhesion in these areas. So remember, this is concrete masonry block. I think that's in great shape. I think this exterior is not in good shape at all. I think somehow maybe there's mesh that is applied horizontally and the edges are peeling off. I think. I don't know. Just all over, there's large cracks, and it's just not good. You should never see a pattern like that when you look up at essentially a flat surface. This ain't flat. The bottom is okay. This is the foundation wall. This is a poured concrete or concrete masonry unit with exterior coating. Something. This is good. I'm not worried about that. When I get up, this is what I'm worried about. Water going in here. Water getting in here, coming down the wall and getting in there. What's going on behind all of this? What's going on behind all of this? You can even see a large chunk right there. This house exterior coating is just falling apart. I don't think the house structure is a concern. This coating that they did poorly is the concern. You should never see, look at that. Oh, these cracks and gaps. This is the waviest stucco I have ever seen in my life. Wavy, cracky. Just, it could be serious too, because what if you can imagine like one chunk of this, it's got to be 30 pounds coming 30 feet, could really nail somebody. And any surface that's penetrated by something is questionable. Like, how did they flash around that? There's just large chunks all by itself. So we're thinking of all kinds of stuff. Like, if you take an InterNACHI course, like the moisture intrusion course or the exterior course, you'll learn about capillary action, where a porous material like masonry can absorb moisture into it, wicking, using surface tension and capillary action and wicking, and water can move vertically and laterally like there's no gravity. A masonry block house can wick water from the ground all the way to the roof easily, just slowly wicking up water, unless there's some kind of break or some kind of protection layer. So like a coating or a literal break, like a thick mill plastic or something like that, or flashing. So masonry is all about, for me, the structure. Is it built well? Are there holes or cracks through which bulk water can go through? How's the flashing for that water to move? And then there's the capillary action, water vapor, movement. I mean, things go from very wet to very dry. Thermodynamics is a fun thing to study at the InterNACHI school in our building science courses. You learn about thermodynamics, and like things go from wet to dry. So when you have a dry masonry structure and you sit it in something that's wet, like the ground, where there's water puddles all over the place, a lot of crazy stuff can happen. Here's a window here. We're going to take a look at that window on the outside. I don't like that there's this little ditch here. There's a hole. This is not an emergency egress window, essentially. I don't know why they just put that. They should have some kind of drainage here. I'm not sure what's going on down here. But the flashing is not right. So this is the front deck, front porch. Remember, this was the first picture that we looked at where the downspout was not discharging water far away from the house. And here's stone. And every rainstorm, water puddles up, and this stone wicks up water. Right there. This is masonry. It's porous and just wicks up water through capillary action. Underneath the front porch, hey, it's a new front porch. Pressure treated wood, got joist hangers, ledger board, bolts. This is great. This is really great. I'm really happy. Supports are there. That's fine. The beam, load-bearing beam is good. So the front porch, the understructure is really good. So I'm kind of happy about the porch. They've got some handrails. They're really not graspable. That would be my only thing. I mean, it's difficult to grasp that. And I take a look at all the walks and the sidewalks and things like that, looking for trip hazards. There's the front deck. And it looks good there. All exterior receptacles should have GFCI protection, ground fault circuit interrupter protection. This one doesn't. It's original to the house. I think Edison made it himself. And the railings are good. And then there's capping, right? I can see capping. I can see at the bottom of this beam, like a load-bearing beam that's been capped or covered with aluminum so that nobody can see what's going on underneath. Aluminum siding was really popular in the United States in the early 1900s, and people just went crazy over it. But it covers things. So when I see something like this that looks like watermarks, I wonder what's behind the capping, what's below the capping. So here's a load-bearing beam here in the front porch, masonry column here, holding the ends of the load-bearing beam. That's really nice. I don't care about this ancillary stuff. I'm just looking how this is looking. It looks okay. Looks okay. It looks good, except warped capping on this beam. On this load-bearing beam here, on this end, the capping is warped. And it's warped in a way that suggests this is hanging like this. This is coming down, and this is coming down here to this low point. This is a low point in this horizontal load-bearing beam, and it's covered with aluminum, and I can't see what's going on, but that's the low point. There shouldn't be a low point in a beam, especially in this location. Maybe in the middle with some deflection, but something's going on here. And look what's over here. Water. What is water doing here below the load-bearing beam here on the inside of the column? About a foot. Why is it going this way? That's what masonry does. Masonry just loves to suck it like a sponge. It just sucks up water. I think we have a roof leak here, and I can't see it. And it has caused rot, and the load-bearing component here has now sunk, but no one knows it because it's been capped for some odd reason. Okay? I can't get to it. Look, I'm trying to pry open my finger. I can't see what's there. It's the fasteners there. I'm not going to remove the fastener. It's a visual only, remember? Visual only inspection. But man, the rain is coming down. It is really rainy. Lots of rain there. I want that water to get far away, push it down the street to the street drain. The downspouts are coming down. This is looking okay. I don't like the patch of the masonry all the way up. And this is leaking right there. That downspout is leaking water. So that's no good. It should be diverting water far away from the house, and it's not. We don't want puddles around here, especially this is a load bearing component. This is made out of wood. I'm going to probe this with my screwdriver to make sure that there isn't wood rot there. This is wood inside it's not resting on top. This is stuck inside the masonry. That's not good either. We don't want wood in contact with concrete on the outside that's always wet. And there's the garage. You can see the amount of water coming out during the home inspection. It's a really great time to do a home inspection or a walk around. If you're a homeowner, just walk around your house during a rainstorm. We take a look at the water spigots. They should be frost proof. This wasn't. There's the water meter on the outside. Here's the gas meter. It's kind of being pulled down. It's off. It's okay, but there's a way for gas meters to be installed correctly. There's the main water gas shut-off valve, and it's going into the house there. Not sure why it's tilted, but it is. Before we get to the heating and cooling, how are the questions here? What type of stucco is the coat? It's cement coating. I don't know what type. I'm not doing any core drilling. It's not my job. Wood can do the same. End grain is nothing more than glued straws. What other spigot? Yeah, wood can do the same thing. Exactly. That's why wood rot exists, right? For masonry, wood rot is spalling, I guess, right? So spalling is caused when masonry absorbs water, and if it's in a cold climate, that water will freeze. I think it expands like 9% of its size or something like that, and then pops the masonry off, right? So you also, if it's dry and you're wondering if this masonry gets wet, if there's efflorescence on it, it could be a sign of prior moisture problems. So efflorescence is that salty, white, powdery stuff that's sometimes on the surface of a masonry wall that has gotten wet and then has absorbed the water, which has salt deposits in it, and it has evaporated, right? So look for efflorescence. Was that water spigot penetrating through a window frame? Yeah, because they didn't want to go through the masonry. So let's just go through and it's supposed to be frost proof as well. So there's a cold climate. I believe this house is in Pennsylvania. So this is the easy way to get water outside, and all the lines going in too. No one wants to do it right through the masonry. No. Okay, heating and cooling. How about YouTube? Are we good on YouTube? Anybody commenting on YouTube? No, it's all right. We got a good conversation going. Heating and cooling. Heating, there's a through wall air conditioner. Cooling is very simple. Heating, this is an old home, Northeast. And in the Northeast, we like to burn fuel and heat water and move that water throughout the house through radiator systems. And that's how we heat. We don't like heat pumps too much in the Northeast. This is a boiler, which is a box made out of cast iron. And inside the box is water. And there's a burner underneath it. We turn on the burner, heat up the box of water, and then circulate that water with a pump. And then there's radiators up in the rooms and they radiate out heat. There's the burners, box of water up above, some controls. There's a circulator pump. When the water heats up, we circulate that water. Should be serviced and cleaned every year. There's cold water being heated. There's an expansion of water. There's heat and temperature and pressure. And if it exceeds certain limits, we need to release it. We don't want something to leak or explode or crack open. So water expands, it needs to be released. Heat does crazy stuff, it needs to be released if it goes over a certain limit. If it does open up, this temperature and pressure relief valve is going to discharge water that will kill. Scalding hot water. It's definitely going to burn. And it should be extended to the floor for safety. This is not safe. Easy fix. Safety hazard. Take a look at the boiler, and this is the boiler. So the connector flue pipe, there's a fuel burning chamber. The exhaust gases from that fuel burning chamber in the boiler itself need to exhaust through the chimney. We got to get that way out of there. So it's going in the chimney. The connector pipe is connected into the chimney stack, but the chimney stack, just like the masonry on the outside, the chimney stack on the inside is deteriorated. I bet it doesn't even have an interior flue liner. A modern flue liner would be great. Pieces of masonry have fallen over the years, and it is halfway blocked, and no one has seen it. Not even the HVAC guy, the heating guy who was just there. I showed you the service, didn't do this. Didn't go open this up. This is not 1 year's worth of stuff. This has been sitting here for a long time. Just blocking, and it slowly falls and keeps blocking, and it's going to eventually block all the way and kill somebody. So before you call up the HVAC guy, call your home inspector, right? Make sure, or afterwards, call your home inspector. You need a follow-up. There's an expansion tank for a boiler. Every boiler has water that expands, and there's an expansion tank, and that should be strapped securely. Of the three straps, but that's okay. Plumbing is the next system. Water coming in, water going out. We're going to inspect the water that's coming in, underground water line, through a shutoff valve, through a water meter, through another shutoff valve in case the water meter needs replaced, and the copper water lines. This is great. This is a part of the bonding, jumping, grounding system for the, there's the water meter coming in. I don't want water coming through this hole. We went through the concrete foundation wall. We don't want that. There's a concrete foundation wall. We don't want that to be leaking any water there. Looks good. Shut-off valve. I'm not going to turn it. This is an old valve. If you're going to turn it, I bet it's going to leak, right? So when it does leak, don't just fix the gasket or whatever. Have the plumber replace the valve with a nice ball valve. There's a different kind of valve that should be there. These gate valves are old valves. But if you need to use it, let's hope that it works. But probably the second time it won't. They're so old. So when it doesn't work, just replace it. Cast iron pipes for the boiler system, right? And cast iron pipes for the drainage system from toilets and sinks and things like that. Cast iron tends to corrode after a while. Some of them corrode quickly, some of them don't corrode at all. But when they start to corrode, the material of the cast iron pipe thins, even creates holes and cracks. And so I like to tap on the cast iron with my screwdriver. If your screwdriver goes through the cast iron pipe, you didn't cause a problem. There was a problem that you discovered. That cast iron pipe needs to be replaced, like this one. So this one is leaking. This isn't sewer. This is from a 2-inch pipe from somewhere, a fixture, and it's leaking at this gasket here. Well, it's leaking, or it did leak, but the cast iron is kind of funny. It's really funny. It'll leak and then it will seal itself because it rusts and corrodes. So whenever I see a leak like that, I look below it, and then drip marks. That means it's leaking. It's an active leak. It's not wet now, but when it leaks, it corrodes, and then it'll leak again, and it'll corrode and stop leaking, right? Just like this. Sometimes you'll get copper pipes that are leaking, and it'll start to corrode on the outside. There's some indications of an active leak, and these deposits will actually seal the leak. So what I do as a home inspector is, I don't care if this is actively dripping or not. This is an indication of an active water leak that needs to be fixed. This is an indication of an active drain leak that needs to be fixed. This is a water supply line that needs to be fixed. It drips. You can see the drip marks. It'll drip when you're not looking. It'll drip when I leave the house. Water heating equipment, anything that heats up water, potable water, and distributes it. through the house is a water heating equipment. You can call it a water heater or a water tank, whatever you want to call it. The code says water heating equipment or a water heater. It's not necessarily a hot water tank or hot water heater. Not really heating hot water. So terminology is important. Water heating equipment. That's the point. So water heating equipment or water heater, you can put water heater tank. That's pretty good. Always refer to the code. So this is the 2021 IRC, chapter 28. We'll talk about water heating equipment. So when you are looking at this tank, you're actually looking at it through the eyes of a code inspector. When I look at this tank, I'm thinking about code, requirements on installing it, provisions to make it safe and functioning, things that are listed in the code, not what the guy who installed it says. Probably very knowledgeable master plumber, but they should be installing it according to the manufacturer's recommendations and building code. So that's why when you take an InterNACHI course, you're essentially learning standards, building standards, best practices, manufacturer recommendations, building code. We refer to building code a lot. According to code, there should be a shutoff valve. Not according to my uncle, not according to your neighbor, not even according to the master plumber. Building code requires a shutoff valve, a gas shutoff valve. This hot water tank, amazingly, doesn't have a gas shutoff valve. Crazy. Some master plumber. Yeah, so that's why we need to rely on standards, right? So have your home inspected. Make sure every appliance, like the water heating equipment, has a gas shutoff valve. The water coming into the tank has a shutoff valve. At least that's here. That's great. This is the TPR valve. Remember the TPR valve that we saw at the boiler? It didn't have an extension pipe. This one does. This one has an extension pipe and goes down to the floor. I prefer to see copper. You can have PVC of a certain type. It should be extended to the floor and it should not be dripping, that TPR valve. You can see it there. There's a little drip leg. I like to see more of an extension. It's a preference. This is the flue connection pipe. I can't take this apart without doing some damage and screws and things like that. And I'm not too concerned about this because I already know what's happening with the heating flue. Heating flue had a clean out at the bend, and it was very easy for anybody to remove the clean out door and take a look. Next system, basement, foundation, crawl space, and structure for copper. I just don't trust for a TPR valve. I like metal copper lines. Just don't like plastic. I haven't seen any tests. I'm sure it's just fine. But when that hot scalding water comes it's like an explosion of water comes blowing out, and then it does a 90-degree angle with plastic. I don't know. I've never seen it. I'm looking. I haven't seen anybody test it, right, to see what that plastic. Plastic is okay. Certain PVC is okay for the extension pipe of a TPR valve, but I've never seen one tested under full conditions, 90-degree angle. I don't know. I just like metal, copper. So that's just a preference. Both are permitted by code. At least we have one, right? At the hot water tank. We don't have one at the boiler. Gas shot valve picking gets absence from. Yep. Water. The tank should have instead of water. Cool. I like these. I like the chat going on. Thanks, fellas and ladies. Tamar, Rogers, Jerry, Kurt, Timothy, Ryan, Devin. Appreciate it. Love the conversation. Anybody on YouTube? Nobody on YouTube. I don't know. Not very popular on YouTube. Here's the basement. Over here is a wall. Excuse me. It's a shared wall with a garage. So over here is the garage. This is the back door laundry area. Here's steps going up. Here's some floor joists, right? And there's, if you turn around, this is the front of the house. So electrical panel. We saw the meter on the outside floor joists window. There's the gas meter. We saw the gas meter in front of the house. And there's floor joists, right? And I take a look at the floor joists. These are old historic floor joists. fantastic. I wish I had them. It's true 2x. And when back then they had 2x, and it was measured 2. The nominal width was 2. And I'm looking at the bottom of this floor here, looking for water penetration or indications of that. I don't care if it's dirty. Care if even if it's like a little powdery or something like that. This is an old home. I'm not looking for pristine cleanliness. This is an old historic home. And my clients know that, right? I'm not looking for perfection here. But we do want to look for water. This looks really dry. Look at that corner. That looks really dry. That looks pretty good. Look at that window there. I like that. I'm looking at my flashlight. I can't see everything. Stuff is in the way, but this looks really good. What is this window with the, why did they put a shower curtain? What is a window curtain on this one? Wait a minute. What is that? Why'd they, I'll go back to that soon. I'm not too crazy about the knots and whatever, but it's not a crack all the way through. There's a crack, but it's doubled up here. I don't know if this is a repair. I'm just looking at things, looking for major. I'm looking for termite infestation. Although if I'm in an area, I'm not going to say the word termite. I'm looking for bugs that eat wood. Wink, wink. I'm looking for wood rot. We saw a lot of water on the outside. Looking for holes, modifications, alterations. Got some efflorescence in the corner there. That's okay. But here's behind that window curtain. And it's just an active water coming in. So there's active water penetrating, coming into the home. Not good. Easy fix. The window is really rotten. It's been repaired and covered up, and the plastic's not doing its job. You don't solve any moisture problems that you see inside a house. You don't solve them from inside the house. So if I go down in the basement and I see a water puddle in the basement, right? I don't like figure out how to solve that water puddle situation. Oh, no, it's on the outside of the house. I immediately go outside and try to figure out. And we have seen a lot of issues on the outside of the house with water, right? It's not managing water. Every home needs to manage water. And to fix any moisture intrusion problem or condensation problem or mold or thing, you have to find the source of the problem. And that's on the outside. So we've got water streaks and watermarks. This is an easy call for a home inspector, active water penetration. And this is a gardening tool. It's a 3-tine hoe, 1-tine, 2-tine, 3-tine. And it's extension. It's an extended pole, so I can reach up and I'm tapping on things. Just like I mentioned earlier on the outside, I pound on the exterior stucco to see if it's hollow. Is there an insulation layer? Is it hard coat? Is it fastened or secured or adhered well? I'm doing the same thing with floor joists. Sounds solid. And over time, if you're new, you'll hit things and you'll know, and that's not solid. That's been eaten or that has been rotted, right? And I move insulation with a 3-tine hoe. You can move insulation, then put it right back and no one knows you moved insulation. Careful. You don't want to, poke a hole in a water line or an old electric line. These are the steps going down into the basement. There's missing handrail, missing guardrail, but the steps themselves are okay. And we're getting to electrical. Yeah, is that a shower curtain? I don't know. But that was the window well for the exterior. Yeah, but that was the window well on the exterior, Lonnie. Electrical. One whiter is here. Oh, one YouTuber is here. Hey, Larry, what's going on? I'll say hi. Hi, Larry. We're on the electrical. Y'all with me? Electrical meter. Meter socket enclosure. It's the official term from code. Here's the electric service line, feeder line. Old electric line, and the exterior sheathing is made out of cloth and it's deteriorated to the point where water can penetrate in here and go right into the socket, right? That's why they tape this up. Oh, that'll stop it. That'll fix it. No, it actually can travel. If it can, like drip just right, it'll keep going into the main panel board. Now we know why the stucco was stopped. Here, stucco guys, they were like, well, I'm not doing anything with electrical. We'll just leave that and we'll just come here to the stucco. So this is the stucco line. It's kind of funny. There used to be a downspout here. Not sure how they got it off right next to the drip loops of the electrical line, but there's a good shot. So this is old electrical line. You really don't see this anymore, but the outer sheathing, exterior coating, um, usually out of a vinyl plastic. Yep, no good. So that line needs to be, well, replaced. But in my report, I'll write that an electrician needs to further evaluate and then replace this line. I'll let the electrician come in. So there's the main panel, line coming in, old wires coming out, new wires coming out, got some breakers. I like to see every breaker specifically identified. Got a 100 amp electrical. 100 amp is the minimum. So there's not much going on in this house. Not much, not a lot of draw coming out of here. So I want to tell my client, you've met the minimum. You only have 100 amps, but you have a great opportunity, right? If you're going to replace the line, let's just replace the whole thing and go 200, right? So that's going to be the call probably from the electrician. So there's a great opportunity. I wouldn't live with it. I'd find the budget or maybe negotiate something. Something has to be done. So missing labeling. I removed the dead front. It's okay. There's some things that I don't like very much, but the hazard is this. So I have a small gauge wire on a big breaker. I have a 20 amp breaker, a couple of them on small gauge, 14 gauge wire. The size of the breaker is too big for the small, thin size of the wire. Can cause overheating and electrical problems. And it's a hazard. And the electrician's going to replace all these anyway, going to get a new 200 amp panel. So all this is moot, but at the current condition and the day of the inspection, I'm going to tell my client what is going on and my recommendations. I've got newer Romex NMB wire coming out of the panel, but also have old knob and tube wiring right there for me to see. I must have something wrong with it. I forget what I'm pointing here. Sometimes I point at things because I don't like to take the time in my inspection report and my inspection software, which I'm using. I use inspection software that's on my phone. And inspectoroutlet.com has discounted inspection software. And if you're brand new, InterNACHI has a inspection software. It's kind of like a checklist. I wouldn't use it for clients, but you can practice inspecting on your own home according to the standards of practice using our free software. We have free inspection software. You can upload pictures and make comments and things like that. I actually forget what I'm pointing here, but I usually use my finger instead of taking the time to draw arrows in my software. And if I take a picture with my phone, right, while I'm inspecting and it's blurry, I just do it again, right there. That's a much better picture. I can see what's going on now. There's knob and tube wiring. It's blurry. Just take another picture there. So I can see knob and tube wiring here. And we already talked about this earlier in the podcast webinar, but it's knob and tube wiring is what it looks like, and it's no good. Old, antiquated method of wiring, no grounding, problems with it's weak, frail. You can't connect to it like this. This is a hazardous situation. You can't cover it up with insulation. It overheats. And sometimes you can't even get your house insured because you have knob and tube wiring. So these are knobs here. And we've seen tubes already, but there's another knob. And you can see it's just covered by insulation. So this type of old antiquated wiring that was installed in the United States for decades, 1800s to middle of the 1900s. You can't put insulation over it. Catches on fire. It's a fire hazard, electrical hazard, safety hazard, inadequate. So I just took a bunch of pictures of that. I've never seen so many wires set up like this. Kind of very nice pattern, done well, but it's just antiquated. Can't serve my client very well anymore. Not sure what this was in the attic. Maybe an atmospheric expansion tank or something for the old boiler system, or maybe it was a steam system. So I'm not sure, but I took a picture of it. Fireplace. There's no fireplace in this house, but according to the standards of practice, I'm going to inspect these things of the fireplace. But there's no fireplace in this house. But there is an attic, and we're in it right now. There's old indications of prior roof leaks that have been fixed. Maybe this was an old vent pipe that was closed off. And it was capped off by metal, and then the shingles installed on top of that. There's the vent stack that we saw. There's holes around that vent stack, and there's indications of water stains coming around that vent stack pipe. And we saw this. This is from a ham radio antenna, the insulator. The structure looks good. The wooden structure looks good, and the masonry structure looks good, but this isn't. See how this is white efflorescence? Watermarks. This is watermarks. This is watermarks. And I mean, I can just touch it and it's wet. Otherwise, I would use a moisture meter to see if it's indicating active water penetration, right? That's the ridge there. But then there's the other side, and we have active water leaks, right? And we have some structural problems too, because this has been leaking for a while. It is wood rot. And this is that chimney. This is the chimney with the step flashing that has that heavily applied black roofing tar. It's leaking. It looked good from the outside. They just applied that tar too. But it's actively leaking during a rainstorm during my home inspection. I mean, it's really leaking. I mean, this is leaking, and it's continuing to leak, and it's going down the wall of the house, probably appearing somewhere below the attic, maybe in a bedroom, first floor. I don't know. So actively leaking. It's coming from this area. Sure looks good, but it's not. Something's up. And it's just all this masonry is getting wet. Just all this wood is getting wet. So we have to, it's an easy fix. It's an easy fix. You just got to do it right. Can't use a contractor that uses black roofing sealant on top of metal flashing. That does not work. Here's proof that that doesn't work. So you need a home inspector to give you the right advice and also make references. We had graphics about proper step flashing installation on a masonry chimney. It's a proper way of doing it. But you need that opinion because most homeowners, they can't see this. This is 30 feet up in the air and you can't see it from the ground. And if you don't crawl into the attic space like a home inspector does, you won't see it from this side either. You'll never know. And then you're wondering why you have maybe health problems because the indoor air quality is bad, because you have mold in the walls, because you have an active roof leak every time it rains and no one is telling you about it. And the roofer says it's all fixed. but they didn't do it right. How do you get the information? How does a homeowner or a renter get the information they need so that they know that their home is safe, functioning, and healthy? You have to hire an unbiased, certified professional inspector to come in, look, and write a report that's easy to read and clear to understand with information that you find valuable so that you can make a smart decision. This is really important. No one knows that this is leaking. And we spend so much time in our homes and our workplace buildings. 85% of our lives are spent indoors. And if the homes and buildings in which we live are not healthy, we're not healthy. So if you're right now watching and you're not feeling well today, it may be because of your home affecting your health. And that's not Ben Gromyko saying that. That's not InterNACHI saying that. That's science. Science shows, real science, right? Shows that our homes and buildings have a direct effect on our health because we spend so much time in them. Get your home inspected. Get your home inspected. So there's my rant and raving. Bathrooms. There was only one bathroom in this house. It was like one bathroom. That's it. One bathroom. Okay. It's odd, but back then they only had one bathroom and everyone shared it. And you go upstairs to get it. Sometimes there was a bathroom, like a toilet and a shower in the basement. My grandfather was a coal miner. So when he'd come home from the mine, he'd go right into the basement and shower up down there before he came up to the living room. So sometimes in the basement, there was something. I didn't see one in this basement. Flush the toilets, run water at the sinks. Let's try to get something to leak here, right? Like the roof. Let's try to make sure nothing is loose or leaking or something like that. Let's run some water at the shower. Let's look at the tiles, right? The tiles are looking good, except, like sometimes, this area here is loose because water kind of drains around here. So you got to put your foot there. You got to push on it. I like to actually pound on the tiles, step on the tiles around the toilet and push my hand on tiles, right? Trying to get things to move around a little bit. That's the door, that's the window. I don't like this crack here, right? This crack in the tile means that it has maybe moved or somebody drilled something or somebody leaned on it or something. That's okay. I just don't want water to go behind it, right? It's kind of like the exterior coating of the exterior covering of our house. We don't want a water entry point. We don't want water to go behind it, right? So when water goes behind tile, it takes a while for that backer board, that backing board, whether it's plaster or wood or anything, to rot out. So I actually literally push on it and I hit the tiles. When's the last time you hit your tiles in your shower? You should probably do it. Hit these tiles. This is behind the toilet. The toilet was replaced. The toilet was a lot bigger, a lot taller, and the tank actually was attached to the wall, right? An antique tank. This is an old house. Did things differently back then. I can't see what's going on, but I'll take a picture. Right? I'm actually looking for, like, where's the heating source? There's no heating source in the bathroom. I think there was a radiator here somewhere, but they patched that up. Okay. Laundry. Go to laundry. Just why realtors and clients find out you don't open the dead front cover, you won't be the first option for an inspector. I'm not sure what that means. Jerry. Oh, wait. There's a whole conversation going on. Whoa. Should I read all this? Anybody have any questions that I need to answer? Okay. Oh, is the removal from the dead front cover required? Not by InterNACHI SOP. If you're a regulated state, you have a standards of practice, go to that standards of practice and follow the standards of practice. Let's see. That was a gas jet when the lighting was by gas lamps in the attic. I don't think it was in the attic, right? I think it was part of the plumbing system. Is it required to move the insulation? It is not required to move the insulation. Just FYI, if realtors and clients find out you don't open the dead front cover, you won't be the first option for an inspection. Yeah, but Patrick, I would say number one thing is just come home safe, right? So don't be pressured by doing something that you feel is unsafe. If you feel it's unsafe to remove the dead front cover, let's go with that for a while, right? Let's just do the inspection as best you can, right? And then maybe you can go like to the House of Horrors and get trained on removing dead front covers, because we have dead panels that you can like do. And we also have live components too. So maybe go to the House of Horrors, or maybe some other thing, maybe a local community college or something like that, or just put in your process. We don't remove dead front covers, right? That's fine. I just want you to come back home safe. Okay. Ben, do you run clothes washers? Only if my client asks me to. I do not. Usually they're removed from the house. They go with the seller, right? Like the refrigerator sometimes, I'll take a look at the fridge, but this is probably leaving. Took a look at the clothes washer and dryer, but they're probably, unless like, oh, well, we negotiated and they're going to stay, but we don't know if they work and they wouldn't tell us if they work or not. Do you think we can turn it on? I'll be like, yeah, let's turn it on. Yeah. And if it leaks all over the floor, that's the worst case scenario, right? Leaks all over the floor, right? It's fantastic news. That's great information. This is a piece of crap. Yeah. It's a good thing it happened right here with your home inspector, right? Now you know. I've just given you valuable information. Your clothes washer leaks all over the floor. It's fantastic. Yeah. Like a lot of home inspectors are like, well, if it leaks, I got to buy it. No. Your job is to make it leak. So if your client wants to know, does this thing work? Yeah. Now, I don't know if it's going to get out stains, right? Just making sure it turns on, turns off, drains, and doesn't leak. Kind of like a dishwasher. I don't know. So I'll run a short cycle on the dishwasher for sure. Every dishwasher, because they usually stay, those things. There's kind of like a permanent installation. Now the dryer, careful, right? Dryers can cause fires. So I look at the lint thing, I clean the lint, and I make sure that I know I can see the lint exhaust pipe, the exhaust pipe of the dryer, and I know what's going on the outside. If I haven't found the termination of that dryer, I don't turn it on, right? If it looks kind of funky, I don't turn it on. And man, I only turn it on just for a little bit, just make sure it warms up. And then I will tell them I turned it on for 10 seconds, put my hand in the dryer, and it felt like it was warm air in there. That's really, I use common plain language to tell them what I do. I don't want to communicate anything other than what I did at the time of the inspection. I literally will say in my reports, I turned it on for 10 seconds, stuck my hand inside, seemed like the dryer air was warm. That's it. That's all I did. I didn't say it's going to dry or I just see, yeah, it looks like it turns on. Okay. Could the seller then hold you liable for the leak? Anybody could sue you for anything. Anybody can sue you for anything. But if it does leak at the time of the inspection, I know my client is going to be right there with me, and we're going to both testify that all we did was just turn it on and it leaked. That hasn't happened in the past, right? Sure. Right. It's never leaked in the past, right? It just leaked right during the inspection, right? You push a button that turns on, right? And then it leaks. It's not like I was fiddling with hoses or anything like that. Usually, when there's a leak like that, like the dishwasher leaks on the floor, the seller already knows it and they either disclosed it or they didn't. And if they didn't, it's beyond me by that time. So did I cause the roof leak? Hey, no one knew there was a roof leak until you came. There wasn't a roof leak until the inspector came. All of a sudden, oh, we got all these problems, all these roof leaks. Look at that. We never had a roof leak before. Never had a problem before. I didn't disclose any roof leak. Now we have a home inspector and the roof is leaking. Right? Yeah, right. It's my fault. Hold me liable for the roof leak. Here's a clothes washer. Speaking of clothes washers, this one's hardwired. I don't know why. I guess it's staying. If the wire here is hanging off the what, this is why I like pre-closing walkthroughs, so that you want to request that a properly installed outlet for your new washer and dryer. Um, Sorry, this is a dryer, for your new dryer is installed before you move in. This dryer does not exhaust outside. All exhausts, bathrooms, kitchen, and dryers need to exhaust outside. They need to terminate outside, right? We're talking about indoor air quality issues. But oh, don't worry about it. This newspaper will fix everything. Here's the clothes washer water supply lines. There's one valve, turns everything off. That's great. But the hoses are not pressure tested, so that's not good. GFCI protection is now required in the laundry. There's no GFCI protection on this. But I run hot and cold water at the plastic laundry tub. Clothes washer discharges in there, and the laundry tub has the old. It's leaking here. This gasket is cracked and it's leaking. Is it leaking in a bucket? No, it's not leaking in a bucket. It has sealed itself, but it is leaking. Right? I can make it leak just by wiggling it, right, or scraping that gunk off, or maybe it's silicone that somebody tried to put up there. Someone's silicone happy in the house. You're not supposed to have an S trap. It's supposed to be like P traps. So this S trap is just gonna, you'll hear that. I'm wondering what lion is doing in the basement. That's the gurgling coming from the P trap. Interior are the electrical gloves to take the. Yeah, they're electrical gloves. I always wear electric gloves. I'm sorry, always wear gloves. I'm always wearing gloves during my inspection to remove the dead front cover. Sometimes I forget. Sometimes I just get caught up in the moment. I'm doing the roof inspection. I'm using a ladder, but most, I don't think I'm wearing gloves in this inspection. Yeah. So I'm not wearing gloves in this inspection. Just got caught up in a moment. I forgot to put my gloves on, but I'm always wearing gloves. Love to wear gloves. It's sanitary and it helps protect. I don't get cut. And it's a good insulator. I don't want to touch anything live. Sometimes I'll touch something live in an attic or in a crawl space. You don't want to do that with your bare hands, so it's really good to have. This window is doesn't lock. These are very old single pane windows. And I'm just looking also for any kind of, problems with structure, cracks, mold, moisture. Here's a radiator. Below the attic, right? So we've got that chimney stack. We've got and no one has painted it, which is really nice, right? So now we know that no one's painting over problems. Probably no one even knows. I've been talking about the cellar and things like that during this webinar, but most sellers are unaware of the problems that home inspectors find. They really are. So when you tell them the dishwasher is leaking, they're like, what? Yeah, the roof is leaking and it's causing stains in the ceiling. They're like, get out of here. Let me see. And you show them this, and the watermarks show that it's been leaking for a long time and it's leaking right now. Right? It's in that area. They're like, oh, I never look up there. And we never go in this room. A lot of people will say. So it's leaking from this area. Looks good, right? Look at that. It's sealed, baby. Yeah, looks fantastic. Nope. More windows, more walls. There's a crack in the corner of an opening and of a load-bearing wall. I'm okay with it, unless it's like really bad, open displacement, movement, something like that. I'm looking for those kind of things, but this is kind of normal. Door opens, doors, in old homes. If this is a brand new home, right? This is a problem. If this is a brand new home under construction, this is a problem. We have to talk, right? Like that should not happen in a brand new home. But this home's 100 years old, right? The doors out of square. Yeah, the door frames are out of square. If this is a brand new home and you can't close the doors, we have a problem, right? So settlement, a 1/2 inch settlement over 100 years is different from a half-inch settlement over 100 hours. There's the first floor, and some wall receptacles. I inspect a representative number of receptacles and switches and light fixtures. I can't get to everything, but the ones I see, they shouldn't look like this. I don't know what's happening here. Looks like the box has fallen out of place. Somebody plugged something in and it went inside the wall cavity or something like that. So something's wrong. This is an old plug. Remember, knob and tube wiring. If something's really brittle back there and this is leaking, I'm sorry, this is moving and wiggling, there's going to be maybe a spark that happens. We don't want that to happen. There's the roof from the window that I saw. I was on that roof. More windows. The space between the spindles, or, the openings in this guard, which has a handrail on the top of the guard, is large enough for a child to fall through. So if I have a client that's a family with very small children, this is a beautiful guard. It's a beautiful guard, but just want them to know that according to modern standards, you can't have big open spaces like this. And to help illustrate that, I use InterNACHI's gallery of illustrations to help me communicate what I'm trying to say with pictures and words. So you can't have a 4-inch sphere passing through any guard. This is a guard. A guard is a barrier to stop people from falling. This is a handrail incorporated at the top of the guard. So you can wiggle this and it shouldn't move. Give it a good push and pull. There's the kitchen, very small kitchen. Looking for any kind of water leaks. There's a flat roof on top of this thing. Flat roof on top of this, and it looks okay. Flat roof on top of that looks okay. I mean, looking up, if you ever hang out with home inspectors, we're always looking up. I'm going out, taking my wife out for dinner tonight. We'll go to the restaurant. We'll see if I look up. Right? I walk into the restaurant and I'll be like, looking around, looking for roof leaks. More windows, more doors. Here's why I wanted to show you. I remember this. Okay, so I'm in the middle of the house. Not in the middle of the house. I'm in the house. This is the kitchen. It's a load-bearing component, right? The kitchen has its own roof. This is the flat roof, right? This is the beam, right? It's a load-bearing beam. It's holding up a lot of masonry above. We had problems with the mason, right? The stucco. And this is a beam, a load-bearing component beam. And I'm looking at it like I was looking at it. Remember the front porch roof had a load-bearing component and there was a low point and the capping was covering it. Oh, I got the same feeling right here. I'm touching water marks. I'm at the bottom of a load-bearing beam, kind of like in the kitchen opening where you walk through to get to the kitchen. And there are water stains on this. Like, imagine water coming out of this trim piece, right? This is probably a piece of trim here. It's probably the load-bearing component board. Maybe this is a trim board too. Can't tell. But, there's a separation here. This isn't a log. This isn't this isn't one piece of wood. These are 2 pieces of wood, maybe, or this is just a trim board. And there's water coming out of here, and it's traveling down here on the flat side and stopping and dropping and dripping or just evaporating because there isn't a lot of water coming out of here. This is brown. What is going on here? Where is the water coming? There isn't water here. There isn't water here. I wish I could stay all day. And I wish I had permission to tear things apart. But that's not the job of a home inspector. A home inspector, our primary job is to educate our clients. We're going to show you how the home works, how to maintain it, And if I see major problems, I'm going to put that in my report and communicate what I see, identify the defect, describe it, tell you the implications if you don't fix it, right? And make recommendations on finding a qualified contractor who can further evaluate and get in there and tear things apart and maybe make the necessary repairs that are deemed critical. I don't know what's going on here. Water should not be watermarks. There should never be watermarks here. Never. And there are. I'm kind of excited as a home inspector because this is really neat, but I'm concise and controlled with my client because this is their dream home. And I may have found a major problem here. And I'm just thinking about all that water behind that stucco wall, traveling down and then coming down here and then hitting this beam and how many years it's been wet. Something's wet here. So I need a contractor to further evaluate. We don't want this beam, which is a load-bearing beam, on a 2-story house with holding masonry, or maybe just the load-bearing framing inside that masonry. I don't know. But it's important to further evaluate this. And I'm so glad I looked up. Just look up and take pictures. Garage and then kitchen, and then we're done. Okay. Garage and kitchen, and we're done. Garage is very simple. It's a box. It's got some plaster on the sides. It's got a floor drain. It has an electric plug. It has a garage door opener. So that's what I'm going to do. But it has a ton of this. Oh, I can't see everything. Look at all this stuff. I can't see what's going on, right? This is a floor drain, probably just goes into a hole in the ground. It's not connected to anything. I can't see all this stuff. There could be a hole here. There could be a major defect here. I'm not going to have that major defect reported in my inspection report for my client. You know why? I can't see it. I'm not responsible for finding all the problems in a home. Only the ones that I both see and consider to be major problems. Not little problem, not little cosmetic things, right? And not things that I don't see. If I don't see it, can't tell you about it. So that's the world that we live in as home inspectors. I can't see everything. Can't see everything. There's a lot of things missing here, but I'm going to do my best to look. I'm looking over here, looking over. I'm touching things, right? Oh, so see this stuff, this white stuff? If you want to know what this white stuff is, we at the accredited college that we have a library, and it's open to the public 24/7. You can go to our library and look to see what this is. This is called efflorescence, and we have an article about efflorescence. It's that white chalky stuff that you might find on the surface of concrete that has gotten wet in the past and has dried. We have a cracked mirror, a cracked window pane, sorry. We have a garage door opener, lift master. It's fantastic. It's plugged in, ground fault, new wire. Wonderful. It's great. Bracing is really good. They did it well. They have photoelectric eyes for safety. That's great. I'm wrapping things up with my client. I'm in the kitchen stove, gas fire kitchen stove. It's very old, and it's missing knobs. I'm not even able to turn it on. I turned on the fan. It doesn't vent outside. It just recirculates. And the kitchen sink, hot and cold water, P-trap. It's going to gurgle. Missing GFCI. That is the defect here. All receptacles in the kitchen, especially the ones on the counter, have to be GFCI protected, ground fault circuit interrupter protected. And to figure out where GFCIs are located, should be located, or should be installed, or AFCIs, you can go to InterNACHI's course, and we try to make it simple as possible to understand. We got nice graphics here. Zach is on our marketing team, and the marketing team produces illustrations for us to learn from and also then use to communicate in our inspection report. So you can download this illustration when you're talking about AFCI and GFCI and locations. this will help communicate what you're trying to explain, right? So in the kitchen, we need GFCI and AFCI. What? This home was built in 1840, right? What are you talking about? GFCI, AFCI. Yeah, I inspect without any regard to the age of the home. I inspect without regard to the age of the home. So if the kitchen doesn't have any GFCI protection, I'm not going to say, oh, well, that's how the home was built. It was built to code then. No, I'm going to try to help my clients understand the most modern building standards and practices that help them live in a home that's functioning and safe and healthy. And so you need GFCI protection. This home was built before GFCI was invented, right? So, but I'm going to recommend GFCI protection. So you can apply that kind of principle in many things. Apply that to electrical. Remember, we have knob and tube wiring. Well, it was built to code back then. Yeah, it's true. True. A lot of real estate agents may push back. If you make a recommendation, they'll say things like, well, the guard is a cast iron guard and it doesn't, we're not going to change that. Right. 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 Home inspectors can't enforce code. We can't we can't force anybody to fix anything. What I'm going to do is I'm going to inform you that when the house was built to code back then, no one cared about kids falling through the guards. Now we do. Now you can't pass a 4-inch sphere through any opening of a guard. And that's the rule. And kids are safer now. So I inspect without any regard to the age of the home. I don't care about the local code that was adopted or amended. Don't care. When the house was built to code back then. Usually when a house was built to code back then, it has problems today. So download some graphics from the InterNACHI library, which is open to everyone. Here's my inspection report. Shall we go through my inspection report? Okay, let's see. That crack is a typical in horsehair plaster. Yeah. Never seen a house without at least one. Right. Yeah, they used to have put all kinds of stuff in plaster in order to try to toughen it up. Post that pic on the forum. I'll explain exactly what's happening. See dozens of time as a carpenter. I wonder what the crack. Oh, the crack in the wall. It's absolutely, it's fantastic. You should download that picture. Everyone take a screenshot. Ready? I don't know if it's that good. It's kind of like, there. You can barely see the crack, right? Yeah, you can't see the crack. That's okay. All right. Where are we? Inspection report. I didn't give that answer because it could have been a GFCI in the series. Can't tell unless you can see all that. No, I used the GFCI tester. I plugged in my little GFCI tester. I don't have one here, but you can plug it in to see if it's wired properly and if it's on a GFCI. Let's see. Leaking doorway in the kitchen? No, the leaking doorway in the oh, to the kitchen. Yeah. Isn't that where the shear stress is at max? I'm not sure what you're all talking about. There's watermarks on a load-bearing beam in the kitchen ceiling. Right? This is not a doorway. Oh, it is a doorway to the kitchen, but it's the opening. Yep. No leaking. So, okay. So there. And yeah, I don't like that crack right there. But okay. Wish I could spend all day with my client with, tools that do demolishing during a home inspection. That'd be fantastic. That'd be a lot of fun. Corey, so, Rayco 312, white wire on a breaker as hot also a no. Yep. Corey, did you predict indoor inspection drones will become more indoor inspection drones? I bought a bunch of those little ones, those plastic ones. They're fun. What is it? If you Google confined space drone, you will see drones that might be perfect for crawl spaces. Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm old school, Corey. That's why I carry tall ladders, because I like to get on the roof. I think a drone is good too. Drone's good too. There's nothing like touching roof covering materials with your hands and stepping on a roof deck. Um, and then for crawl spaces, I like to get in the crawl space. If I can't get into the space because it's too small, they have crawl space robots. Attics, I like to crawl in the attics. I like this. I like this idea, Corey, about having a drone for spaces inside the home that would be maybe easily accessible with a drone. I think you should talk about it more and more. I think you're the first person who's ever said that I know. No one's ever. We're all talking about drones on the outside of the home. Corey's like, no, drone on inside. Only if the drone was really small, you can like go down the drain with it. Here's my report, table of contents, what really matters. I'm trying to make my folks relax, chill out. I'm going to tell you a lot of information, but really, I'm just going to boil it down to 4 things. Most real estate agents appreciate that. So take a look at that. Introduction, standards of practice. To be concise is what I say. When I say correct, I mean correct it before you buy the house. Don't, because you're going to further evaluate and you'll be like, whoop, this is a bigger problem than we thought. Yeah. Every correction that I make, I'm telling you to do it before you buy the house, right? In some way or fashion, get somebody to correct something before you buy the house, or just assume, it's safer to assume that the problem is much bigger. There's a roof. Okay, so in my inspection reports, I try to throw in as many pictures as possible. I probably took over 400, 500 pictures on this inspection, but maybe 30 show up in the report. Okay. And I give all of my pictures to my clients, right? And anything in red, bolded, and italicized is something you should pay attention to. And I don't care if it's monitoring, I have monitoring recommended or correction recommended. It is just as important. I want you to monitor this. I don't make one green, one blue. They're all important. Every recommendation is important. So if you look at my reports, like if I'm not recommending anything, this is just information, general information. If I'm telling you to monitor it, it's red and capitalized, all caps, correction. Everything is capitalized. When I want you to take action, it's big and red. If it's not capitalized, it's just information. Okay. So I heard there was a discussion about inspection reports because the home inspector kind of hid recommendations with a color of blue or something, and somebody was confused or something. There's no confusion here. Red, all caps, bolded, italicized is you taking action on my words, right? The pictures help communicate that, right? If I say an improvement is needed because the window pane is cracked and my picture shows my hand on the cracked window pane, that just all of this goes together. All that is helpful. So there's the boiler, there's the plumbing, right? Got leaks. There's no valve there, red, So if you want to, the point is, if you want to learn how to write a report, read other inspection reports by master inspectors. I'm not saying I'm any good, but you can read my report if you want to. And they're readily available. Forget where they are. You can email me or someone on the education team and say, where are Ben's inspection reports? Along with my inspection reports, I have about a dozen other reports from other master inspectors as well. So you can take a look at their reports as well. To help in any situation, not just like looking at your reports, get a mentor. InterNACHI has a mentoring program. We have certified master inspectors all over the world who have agreed to volunteer their time in order to help other inspectors. Take full advantage of that. It's a free service through your member dashboard. That's why you need to be a member of InterNACHI in order to take advantage of all these resources that you have. So pictures help. But the things that I want my client to do, man, they're really easily seen. I mean, take a look at this page. You know what my client wants to do. What I want my client to do here is in red. Take action. And also produce a summary. And that's everything in red, summarized. And we go over that in the kitchen, right? Little thing about how I prefer my clients to be at the inspection. This client was not. I don't know why. They just didn't, yeah. Sometimes it's impossible to get off work. But this is the biggest financial decision that you'll ever make. And you need to hire somebody that you can trust to give you an unbiased opinion. This is the moment that you show up. Somehow you have to get here, because there's some things that are missing, right? If you show up, we can answer all of your questions. We both can see what is going on, and I can elaborate on what might be complicated or technical, right? So I try to answer my clients' questions at the time of the inspection. You can also, if you're a home inspector, you can also download illustrations that you can refer to in your inspection reports. Really boost the quality of your inspection reports to, explain things, especially complicated things like the panel board, electrical panel board. So there's an illustration there, and that's a free illustration to InterNACHI members. And there's a report conclusion and the pre-closing walkthrough and some items here. And then also leave a leave behind letter for the property owner, saying we wore indoor only shoes and we tried to reset everything back, but you may want to take a look at these things. And if you need to hire us, we're available. I got a lot of leads from sellers. So I inspected a home. That homeowner was selling the home. They became my client. If you're interested in becoming a member of InterNACHI and you've never been a member, we have a 1-month trial membership. Go to nachi.org/trial and type in webinar month code. If you want to join InterNACHI and you've never been a member of InterNACHI, we have a 50% discount as well off your first year. Go to nachi.org/trial and enter the coupon webinar. And you can find me on the internet. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, all that silly stuff. So I like Instagram. They're a lot of fun. Good videos. I follow a ton of very good inspectors. They're having a lot of fun out there, and they are doing some amazing video work. There's some really great inspectors out there just shooting 30 seconds of a video, 10 seconds of a video. A lot of fun. I learn a lot. So please consider that. You don't have to follow me or watch me, but there's a lot of inspectors out there doing some really cool videos. So give a shout out to them and follow them and comment. All right. Any questions? Let's see. What software did you use and abusing? So I have done Home Inspector Pro. I've done Home Gauge. I have Spectora on my phone right now, and I'm talking to Report On and not Instagram. Insta Report, Gram Report, Reportogram. Oh man, it wasn't. They're going to hate me because I can't remember the name. That's the problem, right? Insta Report, some kind of gram. Inspectogram. Inspectogram. Is it Inspectogram? Sounds like I'm doing something with cocaine. Spectrogram of weed or something. Is that it? So I would just go to inspectoroutlet.com. Let's just go there right now. Okay. Inspectoroutlet.com. And I'll show you. Oh, no. I'm going to take all this back. Ready? Go to nachi.org/everything. 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 Right? And scroll down to step 3. Step 3 has software recommendations. That's the go-to. This is the go-to page, right? If you're looking for something, Go to nachi.org/everything. I'll even type it in the chat. nachi.org/everything. Boom. And on YouTube, oh, if I could type everything. Boom. Okay. And there's tools and software. Is how to get trained, how to join InterNACHI, how to calculate profitable inspection fees, how to get a domain, a logo, a website, and free job leads. These are the first 5 critical steps that every home inspector has to do in order to be successful. If you don't do any of these, if you don't do one of these, you're not going to be successful. That's 30 years of advice coming to you. You have to complete all 5 steps in order to be successful. There's a lot more steps. There's 15 in all. But the first 5 are critical, because at this point, you can start making a lot of money as a home inspector, even if you're already in business. Go over these steps, click the links. Like it says, well, a calculated profitable inspection fee, or I know what a profitable, just click the link and there's more information there. Okay. Did you know there's 9 ways to make money as a home inspector? You should be doing all 9. Inspector Graham, they're doing a webinar next week through internet. Yeah, Inspector Graham. There it is. I knew I got it. Inspector Graham. Inspector Graham. Inspect a gram of what? What are those 9 ways? Where am I going to find that? I know. Go to, ready? I'll tell you exactly. Heidi. Go to any NACHI.org page, NACHI.org, right? And go to get started. It's going to be a few clicks. NACHI.org, get started. Training and education. If you're on a mobile device, you got to hit the menu, go to training and education, or just listen. Once you're on a training page, training and education page, and all of our courses are offered by our accredited college. There's only one accredited home inspector college, and that's InterNACHI. Everyone else, just look for the EDU. Type in marketing. And you want to scroll down to the Home Inspection Business and Marketing course, not for Canada, unless you're in Canada. Go to Home Inspection Business and Marketing course. And you log into the course. And you go to you go to chapter 11. And there's a link there that says 9 ways to make more money. And there's this video of a guy that I know. Let's learn about how to make more money. Talks a lot per day. But let's go over the 9. Ready, Heidi? 1, increase your fees. So you just offer more value, right? You got to increase your fee. You can't just increase your fees because you want to make more. You have to offer a reason why you're increasing your fees. You want to be offering your clients incredible value. When the perceived value is greater than the cost, it's a good decision with your money. So to increase your fee, you have to increase the value that you provide to people, or at least the value that they perceive that you're providing. Increase your fees. Number 2, 9 ways to make more money, right? Increase your fees, do more inspections yourself. So just schedule more inspections per day or per week. So I did 2 inspections a day. If you don't want to work on Sunday, you're not going to make more money. If you want to work on Sunday, that's more inspections per week. Be efficient with your time, right? So you want to increase gross revenue and divide it by your time. You want to increase your gross revenue. You don't want it's a fraction. This divided by that. Increase gross revenue divided by your time. And be efficient, like we said, with mobile software. 9 ways to make money: increase your fees, provide overwhelming value. 2, do more inspections, just do more inspections. 3, hire out or subcontract an inspector. That way you get to do more jobs, but you have to learn how to delegate and manage. 4th way to make more money: you sell more per client by bundling. So you get trained and certified by InterNACHI in more than just home inspections, but we have over 60 additional types of inspector certifications, and you bundle up that. So that's one way you upsell other services. You get fifth way to make more money, you get more efficient with your time. Let's say you don't increase gross revenue or increase the number of jobs you do or anything like that, or raise your fee, but you lower the time, you squeeze the time, you be more efficient with your time. So essentially, you're making the same money, but in less time. That's one way to make more money. Get more efficient with your time. Sell inspections to the same clients. That's repeat inspections, weather event inspections for neighbors, home maintenance inspections. 7, add additional revenue streams like commercial property inspections to your business model. 8, sell your clients' contact information to third-party service providers. That's one way to make more money, but this is disastrous. This is a great way to kill your credibility as a trusted third-party neutral professional. This is a great way to kill your business. Sell your clients' confidential information. So read the small print of your software. By the way, wink, wink. Number 9, ninth way to make more money. Keep your operating costs down. This is the easiest way to make more money. Control the burn. Look at your overhead. Keep costs low. Take advantage of all the free InterNACHI membership benefits, like the marketing team of InterNACHI. The marketing team works for free to help you with your marketing. So that's 9 ways to make more money. All right. Hey, everyone. I am, what do you think? You all hungry for lunch? You want to go to lunch? Was that a good webinar? Hope you had fun. Hope everybody stayed safe. If you want to do the next webinar, go to our webinar page, and that's at nachi.org/webinars. I'm Ben Gromyko from InterNACHI. That's the International Association of Certified Home Inspectors. And we just inspected a home, found a lot of problems, wrote an inspection report, talked about business, marketing, software, and hope everyone stayed safe and had fun. All right, let's do this again sometime. Thank you all. I appreciate it. Thanks for being here. I'll see you next time. Stay safe and do good. Bye, everybody.